Alright, Pak Aditya. Mr. Dan, can we start?
Hi everybody. Yeah, I think we can start, and then we can just we can just follow through for the others to just comment and join in.
Alright then.
Yes,
Oke.
yeah.
Oke. Halo dan selamat siang. Selamat datang di seri webinar CloudSwyft tentang memanfaatkan lab practice atau hands-on lab online untuk pendidikan tinggi. Sebagai informasi, kenapa kami mengadakan webinar ini, bahwa agar kami dapat bertemu dengan Bapak dan Ibu dan saling mengenal dan bisa melihat langsung satu sama lain walaupun secara virtual. Selama masa-masa sulit ini, kami telah melihat dan mengalami dalam pengaturan kelas di mana sesi siswa dan guru dilakukan melalui pertemuan online dan di mana latihan dan pekerjaan rumah ditangani melalui online dan platform manajemen pembelajaran. Sekarang kita dihadapkan pada tugas yang lebih sulit karena harus mengadakan kelas laboratorium komputer yang praktis dan langsung. Tantangannya adalah bagaimana siswa dapat mengakses dan melakukan latihan lab langsung di komputer mereka dan bagaimana instruktur dapat membantu kemajuan siswa jika komputer yang biasa digunakan ada di halaman sekolah dan berada di rumah. Mari kita sama-sama temukan solusi yang layak tentang bagaimana menangani hal ini. Hari ini kita akan bergabung dengan mitra kami dari Microsoft Indonesia, yaitu Bapak Aditya Yoga beserta tim. Boleh on Pak Aditya kamera.
Halo, selamat siang semua. Selamat siang. Terima kasih, Bu Dian.
Ya. Dan pendiri dan CEO CloudSwyft, yaitu Mr. Dan De Guzman.
Hello everybody.
Yeah.
I'm opening my camera. Can you guys see me?
Yes.
Selamat sore. Thank you for attending our webinar. Hi everybody.
All right. Dan salah Vice President CloudSwyft kami yaitu Prince Datu. Okay.
Hi, hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We will be speaking in English and perhaps if in case Nerdian and Aditya can help if in case there are any technical questions. But thank you again for joining. We look forward to spending the next couple of next hour and a half with you. Have a good one.
Alright. Mereka bersama kita akan memperkenalkan cara baru dan inovatif dalam menyelenggarakan fasilitas lab dan lab hands-on komputer untuk di kelas di masa new normal. Dan saya ingin memperkenalkan bahwa sales untuk customer dan market di Indonesia adalah saya sendiri, Nurdian. Hi everybody. Halo Bapak dan Ibu. Dan untuk sales di Filipina ada Benzat Zamaldin and Yunis Ogliman, dan juga sales manager di Filipina dan penasehat senior untuk sektor perusahaan di Asia Tenggara dan Timur Tengah adalah Edward Musia. Oke. Sekali lagi saya ucapkan selamat datang untuk Bapak dan Ibu yang sudah bergabung. Mari kita mulai seri webinar ini, yaitu agenda pertama kita adalah CloudSwyft dan Microsoft Partnership yang akan dibawakan oleh Bapak Aditya Yoga sebagai Enterprise Manager Education. Alright, waktu dan tempat kami persilakan Pak Aditya.
Ya, terima kasih Dian. Terima kasih semua Bapak Ibu atas waktu dan kesempatan untuk bisa join di webinar series hari ini. Saya Aditya Yoga, saya adalah Enterprise Channel Manager untuk Education di Microsoft. Kalau saya boleh share sedikit terkait tentang presentasi saya. Ya, pertanyaan yang sering selalu muncul di benak kita adalah mengapa sektor pendidikan butuh untuk bertransformasi.
Hello.
Can you see my screen?
Sorry.
Belum Pak Aditya.
Aditya, I think it's loading.
Okay.
Maybe, just try
How about
loading
now?
it.
There you go. It's up
Yeah,
now.
there you go. Yeah, we can see it now.
Oke. Melanjutkan perbincangan tadi, mengapa sektor pendidikan butuh bertransformasi? Seperti yang kita tahu, dunia ini selalu berubah, dunia selalu constantly changing, nggak pernah selalu berhenti di satu titik. Begitu juga dengan teknologi, teknologi selalu bertambah, bertumbuh, berkembang mengikuti perkembangan zaman dan selalu ada inovasi baru di setiap waktunya. Dan perkembangan teknologi tersebut cukup cepat dan kian semakin cepat, terkait juga dengan adanya berbagai macam platform atau teknologi yang mempersiapkan kita untuk perubahan tersebut. Salah satunya adalah cloud computing. Jadi Microsoft kita sering menyebutnya adalah Azure. Itu adalah sebagai salah satu platform yang sangat membantu perkembangan teknologi, di mana ketika dahulu kita membutuhkan sebuah server atau sebuah komputer dengan spek yang cukup tinggi, kini kita tidak perlu lagi menggunakan atau berinvestasi untuk server atau komputer tersebut dan bisa digantikan dengan cloud computing tersebut. Dan seperti yang kita tahu, bermula dari revolusi industri ketika kita berbicara sebuah transformasi, revolusi industri, Bapak Ibu sudah tahu mungkin revolusi industri pertama ditemukannya mesin uap. Lalu berikutnya juga dengan revolusi industri kedua, ketiga, dan keempat, di mana kita di zaman ini kita berada di era revolusi industri keempat, dan sebentar lagi kita akan beranjak ke revolusi industri kelima, di mana di revolusi industri keempat sendiri kita sudah menemukan berbagai macam teknologi-teknologi yang cukup mutakhir, yang sudah tanpa kita sadari itu sudah emerge atau sudah terdapat dalam kehidupan sehari-hari kita, di mana kita contohnya untuk berpindah dari satu tempat ke tempat lain, kita tidak perlu lagi memiliki sebuah kendaraan atau vehicle atau mungkin suatu motor atau mobil, tapi sekarang kita cukup dengan aplikasi, kita bisa berpindah dari satu tempat ke tempat yang lain. Begitu juga dengan perubahan di mana kita bisa melakukan pembelian, penjualan barang itu lebih cepat, seperti yang Bapak Ibu sudah tahu, di mana e-commerce di Indonesia juga cukup besar dan berkembang cukup cepat. Di situ adalah peran serta teknologi. Dan seperti yang kita tahu, ke depannya berbagai macam teknologi tersebut akan masuk, seperti Bapak Ibu lihat di presentation saya, berbagai macam teknologi seperti IoT, Internet of Things, di mana nanti rumah Bapak Ibu bisa terkoneksi dengan satu smartphone pintar, di mana robotik itu sudah mulai menggantikan human resources untuk lebih presisi, lebih cepat lagi, dan di mana kita bisa men-tracking suatu progression, suatu orang atau benda yang bergerak itu dengan GPS tracking, di mana juga kedepannya berbagai macam teknologi yang mempermudah kita untuk lebih berkembang lagi. Dan pada kesempatan ini saya juga ingin bersharing. Saya ngambil quote dari majalah Forbes. Gimana caranya kita beradaptasi tentang masa depan. Untuk kita bisa beradaptasi, khususnya di dunia pendidikan, untuk masa depan ke depannya, kita cukup harus memiliki sistem atau suatu tatanan, suatu informasi sistem yang bisa kita pelajaran dan bisa kita adapt di dalam pembelajaran sehari-hari. Tanpa Bapak Ibu sadari, teknologi berkembang saking cepatnya itu meninggalkan proses dari sisi pendidikan yang kita sedang ajar dan lakukan saat ini. Seperti gimana caranya ketika kita mengalami satu pandemik, gimana proses pembelajaran pengajaran itu tetap bisa berlangsung. Makanya kita sangat membutuhkan sebuah teknologi yang membantu kita pada saat ini untuk bisa melanjutkan aktivitas kita tanpa ada halangan atau rintangan yang tanpa kita prediksi itu bisa terjadi. Seperti saya kutip dari CEO kami, Pak Setya Nadella, beliau mengatakan COVID-19 ini memiliki impact yang cukup besar dalam kehidupan, pekerjaan kita, dan kebiasaan kita sehari-hari, di mana kita melakukan selama jangka waktu 2 tahun untuk melakukan transformasi, mempersiapkan transformasi tersebut. Dan sejak adanya COVID itu, dalam waktu 2 bulan, tanpa kita sadari kita sudah bertransformasi dengan mengadopsi, contohnya ada pembelajaran jarak jauh, mungkin juga pembelajaran dengan video conference, dan digital learning management system, berbagai macam teknologi-teknologi tersebut kita adopsi tanpa kurun waktu yang cukup mepet. Seperti itu. Dan pada kesempatan ini, saya juga ingin mengintroduce salah satu solusi juga yang bisa membantu proses pembelajaran dan pengajaran Bapak Ibu, di mana nanti salah satu partner saya, CloudSwyft, dan Dan sebagai CEO dari CloudSwyft akan menjelaskan gimana kita merubah konsep atau tatanan pembelajaran dari siswa kita yang biasa kita lakukan lewat lab fisik atau komputer lab kita, yang saat ini mungkin siswa kita tidak bisa mengaksesnya karena kendala dari adanya pandemik ini. Dan nanti juga Dan akan menerangkan bagaimana ke depannya cloud computing atau virtual labs ini bisa membantu Bapak Ibu untuk melakukan transformasi dalam sisi efisiensi, menginvestasi dari komputer yang cukup tinggi untuk bisa melakukan pembelajaran pengajaran dalam kurun waktu tertentu dan ke depannya. Sekian dari saya bisa lanjutkan kembali ke Nurdian.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Aditya. Ibu, Bapak, sebagai informasi bahwa CloudSwyft dan Microsoft telah bermitra selama 6 tahun membawa teknologi baru ke sektor pendidikan Filipina, dan kami sampai saat ini sudah melebarkan sayap ke market pendidikan di negara ASEAN. CloudSwyft juga telah mengembangkan platform hands-on lab, tempat di mana siswa dapat mengakses dan melakukan lab komputer secara aktual, kapan saja, di mana saja, di perangkat mereka sendiri. Alright, selanjutnya saya ingin mengundang Prince Datu sebagai Sales Vice President CloudSwyft untuk memberikan gambaran lebih detail tentang CloudSwyft Custom Hands-on Labs platform. Alright, the screen is yours, Prince.
Thank you, Benodian. All right. Let me know as soon as you guys can see my presentation. Hold on 1 second. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Wow, I like it. Yes, we can see.
All right, okay.
Yep.
Great. So I'm going to go and talk a little bit about CloudSwyft and some of the offerings that we have, our products and services across not just Southeast Asia, but CloudSwyft is starting to become well-known globally. We all have already broken ground with Saudi Arabia or the Middle East, together with ANZ or Australia and New Zealand. And I'll just go through a few slides that basically talks about what we do and who we are in the market and why this is relevant, particularly for the views that you have now, especially for technology, right? Now, who we are. So CloudSwyft is basically we're the lead provider of technology, right? Future-ready technologies in Southeast Asia. We're very focused towards upskilling and reskilling the workforce in order to support rapid digital transformation. We're very much keen and focused towards the engagement in terms of how we help educational institutes and corporate environments as well, corporate learning, and help drive up the learning in terms of technology for these types of industries. Now, in terms of what we do, we're very focused on providing two main components. We've got our course content, very focused on about 150, actually about 180 future ready skills courses, all of them coming from Microsoft primarily, or about a good 90% of them coming from Microsoft. And these are laddered towards multiple type of engagements or multiple types of learning, starting from zero knowledge all the way up to advanced levels or to professional and certificates. All of these course content is coupled in together with hands-on labs. So these hands-on labs are actually uh, visible on the courses and can be accessed through any type of device. They can use any type of laptop or desktop, even a tablet, in order for them to be able to immerse inside an environment to learn specific skill sets. If they want to learn Azure, if they want to learn Power BI, or even something very basic such as Microsoft Office 365, but they do not have the hardware in order for them to launch these kinds of applications, then that's where we come in. On the education side, as an expansion of that, not only are we focused on enabling different virtual environments, but we can also provide different kinds of applications to support learning for education. So, for example, a lot of you would have your own current lab facilities, your lab centers, right? But because of the current situation that we have at the moment, it becomes very limited for your students to come to the school. Because of the pandemic, a lot of schools are not yet opening their doors or are not functioning at full capacity. That way, CloudSwift comes in order to help support not just with the content, but at the same time, the ability to provide hands-on labs, which will be the focus of later's presentation, actually, because these hands-on labs enable users to just go to any device that they have at home. They don't have to upgrade their hardware anymore and still be able to perform the lab activities and the lab exercises that they would normally do inside the school. All of our course content is mapped out together with digital credentials and badges, which I will show you in just a minute. That basically empowers your students to be able to say that, hey, not only did I go through college or to university, but at the same time I was able to generate and complete different courses through CloudSwift and aligned with Microsoft, and these are my certificates and badges to prove that I was able to complete those courses during my college times. The logos that you're seeing below is just a big snapshot of who we have been helping and who we've been working with in the region. So of course, as technology partners, Microsoft is, from the very beginning, we've been partners with Microsoft, and they remain to be our strongest partner in terms of upskilling and promoting digital transformation to the education and to the workplace. We've also developed and deployed content we haven't developed content, but rather we've made available the content to these nationwide initiatives, upskilling initiatives, such as Skills Future Singapore, wherein we're training about 13,000 Singaporean citizens. We're also part of the Kartu Prakerja program, wherein citizens, Indonesians, are actually able to go into the program and acquire certification, as well as the Malaysia Development Economic Council. We have multiple engagements there. We have other corporate and education partners as well. In particular, I would like to talk about with Venus University, which is a large-scale university over there, wherein we're actually deploying, a good amount of our hands-on labs to Venus University, and I'm sure that my My colleague Dan will be very interested to talk about how that goes and some of the progresses of Venus. So I'll leave that to him. But know that we have deployed about 7,000. We have deployed our labs to about 7,500 students, and across multiple schools such as game design, business, software, rather computer science, engineering, architecture. So these are some of the different departments and colleges that are taking those as of the moment. We're also present in Malaysia with Unitar, in the Philippines, various schools, and in Singapore through a state university, Republic Polytechnic. Right? We're also visible on other platforms, and the content, just to give you the reassurance that the material that we're providing is actually up to grade and up to par in international standards. Our content is available across multiple other partners and platforms, such as FutureLearn, Digi, and Go1. So overall, the solution, just to give you a broad idea, is that we stand on 4 key components. We have a standardized learning platform that can be white labeled so that it works just like an LMS. So when I say it works just like an LMS, it's a learning portal that allows your students to go in, take some of the courses, perform their hands-on labs, and there are functionalities for administrators and faculties to be able to monitor and manage their students. However, our system can integrate with other LMSs. So if you already have a learning management system, that is not a problem at all. We can work in tandem with your system. The focus would be also the hands-on labs and as well as the course content. So in the course content, we offer about major tracks in AI, data science, data analysis, big data, DevOps, and other business applications, coupled together with the hands-on labs that I mentioned, and we will focus heavily on. All of these courses are also finally mapped to a digital credential and badge that your students will earn, and they can share on their LinkedIn profile or their social media, or put on their resumes and portfolio so that they can go ahead and help accelerate their career pathing or their next step in terms of what their role would be for the future. So a quick snapshot of all of those technologies right here is a view of all of these main tracks. We have data science, data analysis, IoT, or Internet of Things, big data, DevOps, and also we carry the new Microsoft role-based certification courses for those of you who are interested in implementing the new role-based certification or integrating the new role-based certification into your university training or learning paths. Then we definitely would want to be working with you there. And lastly, we have a robotics process automation content coming from another academic partner, UiPath. So they have robotics and RPA, right? We also have more content coming soon in the near future. Now, our platform, like I mentioned, is a learning portal that allows you to go in and take any of these courses. I'll take you on a very quick view of that before I cap off. But basically, the learning portal allows you to access the course content, download course videos, and then have discussions internally between students. So there's a peer-to-peer discussion thread per course, and those functionalities allow for a more engaging learning experience for your students. And then at the same time, your faculty.
Prince, just excuse me. Could you put the presentation into presentation view, because I think the audience is having a hard time viewing the PDF form. Could you make it presentation view format?
Okay, hold on.
Or just try to maximize it and enlarge it. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
hold on. Let me see. How is that? Is that a little bit better? Too much? Is that better?
I'm not sure if it adjusted.
Dan?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it just
Hello.
enlarged a little bit. It enlarged a little bit better.
Disconnected. Yeah, is this better? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Hello?
Go ahead, Prince. Go ahead, Prince.
Yeah, it looks good at this end.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. So like I mentioned, the learning portal allows us to also integrate with any existing LMSs. So a few of those very popular ones that are used at universities would be Blackboard, Canvas, OpenEdX, Moodle, and very easy for us to be able to work with those. We're very, very much keen to see how we might be able to work together. Next would be the key functionalities of our hands-on labs. Now, I'm not gonna dwell too much on this. show this to you live anyway, but know that the existing course content that we have already has pre-created hands-on labs, and we can customize and configure different lab requirements or different lab specifications as you need them for your organization. Next, we have another access or another key feature that you can take advantage of. Is called our blended learning experience. We have on hand certain numbers of professionals and instructors that would be able to there you go. Oh, there you go. So May gave me a tip. Let's hope that connect to a mentor, basically on a one-on-one consultative approach. Your students, your participants can actually connect with any of our mentors and book a 1-hour session and basically ask them about either their career path or what would be a good way for them to, let's say, for example, connect with a professional AI engineer, or maybe if they want to connect to a consultant, who's working for a top company in Singapore, right? And just be able to kind of get an idea of what would be next for their careers, or if they just need help on their work as well, they might be able any of these mentors that we have on board. So that is another key feature or benefit for your end users. Next, we've got our certifications and badges. So all of the courses are mapped out to different certificates and badges that your participants will earn at the end of each course, and we can make the same as well for your custom configured hands-on lab. So this is a function that is managed from CloudSwyft that we can work hand in hand with your groups. So next would be just a very quick snapshot of some of those case studies that I mentioned a while ago. I did mention a few of them already, such as Skills Future and Kartu Prakerja. Here in the Philippines, we have other state universities and other schools that are currently using not just the content, but at the same time at the labs. I'd be more than happy to discuss some of those with you later on. And next, just a very quick view of some of those course content, just to give you an idea of what's already available. So let's say, for example, with data science, we're starting from zero knowledge, such as an introduction to data science, right, all the way to core data science. We're already talking about Python and R, leading towards machine learning and research methods, leading finally towards applied data solutions or implementing predictive analytics. So we have a full stack of all of these course content that I'm pretty sure that Nerdian and Aditya can share with you as we develop the conversation, right? Next, I would just like to very quickly show you how it would look like from the portal. So this is my last step before I turn over the presentation. Just 1 second. All right, so I have my screen back up and running. Okay, and this is a very quick view of our learning portal. This can be easily represented by your university. We can change the logos, the banners, all of the information. And let's say, for example, if I want to change the language, since I'm using a browser at this point, I'm just using any standard browser. You can do the same across all. And let's say, for example, I want to translate that to Indonesian. So I go in and Indonesian, there you go. And basically, if I do so, the whole page just updates and allows you to easily update it. Now, I speak Indonesian Bahasa at the moment, but I guess from the feedback that we've received is that the information and the translation is quite okay. Of course, we can help you or work with you if you want to localize this to something that's more specific, or if there are any changes that you want to make. So it changes everything, including the videos, the context. The videos will have closed caption in and that is very helpful, when you're going into the content. So if I sign in, and if I navigate to any of these courses, let's say, for example, it is a course on Java, and I'll go to, let's say, for example, a video. Let's go look for here. Right, so there we have a video, and the pre-built tools inside the browser. Right, and there. Now the whole page, including the video, gets translated, and as you can notice, the closed caption also is in Indonesian. Right? So there, very quickly just showing you what we do and the products and services that we offer in CloudSwyft. Now we're going to turn it over to Dan in order to tell you a little bit more about the custom hands-on labs and how we make it work, and give you a quick demo of how all of the the good things that the lab can do for your organization. So that's it for me. If there are any questions, you can leave it on the chat, or we can have a discussion about it later. I turn it back on to Nerdian. And Dan, go ahead after this.
Yes, alright. Thank you, Prince. Terima kasih. Baiklah, selanjutnya mari kita dengarkan Bapak Ibu pendekatan yang lebih teknis mengenai Custom Labs Hands-on Platform yang akan disampaikan oleh pendiri dan CEO CloudSwyft, Mr. Dan de Guzman. Please, Mr. Dan.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? All good? All right. So what I will do is I will be focusing more on the custom labs platform of CloudSwyft. So this is a sample of one of the universities in the Middle East that we're working with. And in fact, the reason why we cannot show you an actual university login or an actual Indonesian university login is for security and for anonymity purposes. So for data privacy purposes, we cannot show any of those live production level Indonesian-based university labs management platforms. So what we want to show you are like specific POC samples that we have in what POC demos that we've done with one of the largest universities in the Middle East, for example, University of Hale. So the main reason why we want to showcase this as well, so that you would have an idea how global in terms of our reach is, in terms of how we work with Microsoft as well, not just with the Microsoft Indonesia team and the education team of Indonesia, which has been very fantastic and incredible since day one. We're also working with other teams in other countries in Microsoft education team. We're in the Middle East, like the university sector. They're using our custom hands-on labs platform for them to be able to virtualize their physical computer lab facilities. So which is the same thing that we have been working on as well in the education sector in the Indonesian market. So for example, here I've logged on as an administrator in the CLMP portal. So we call it CLMP, CloudSwyft Labs Management Platform. And then each organization or each university or school would have its own unique URL. And then once you've logged on as an administrator, you can access the dashboard. And then on the dashboard, if I click on, let's say, a lab profile, let's say artificial intelligence lab profile, I would be able to see the students that are actually enrolled into this lab profile. And also at lab class, when I click on that specific student, I would be able to see consumed lab hours in total. And then I would be able to see the remaining as well. So we can flexibly configure and allocate the number of lab hours in terms of per lab class, per student, or per lab class for the entire number of volume of students. We can show that to you later on in the lab profile sections. So as you can see here, there's this Excel icon in here wherein when I click that, it will download in the CSV file that will definitely show the data of the consumption as well per lab, per student for that specific lab profile or lab class. So it's the same as well. Let's say, for example, if you have a lab class in multimedia classes as well, not just with computer science, but also with the multimedia design, for example, Adobe, it can be done as well. And then also with Autodesk, AutoCAD, MATLAB, and so on. For multimedia design. So I'm able to actually click on the student, and the student has 1 hour and 20 minutes consumed, and with the remaining is in 40 minutes in total. So when I click on lab profiles, this is where all of the baking and the cooking of all the labs are happening. Wherein you can create a lab profile from scratch by just simply clicking on create lab profile, and then you can put the details of the lab profile. You can also put the description, and then you can choose an image that you want. And then let's say, for example, let's say Indonesia Uni lab class, Adobe. And then let's say this is a lab profile. And then you put an image that you want. So you can try any image that you want. Say this one. And then you can just simply click on next once you're done. And then you choose an operating system. So in the next months or so, we will be releasing different type of other lab environments. So at the moment, we support virtual machine type of lab environments, whether it's Microsoft Windows or Linux operating system. And then aside from that, we would also be offering very soon what we call container type labs, wherein it would work perfectly for WordPress, Joomla, Atlassian, Jira, Confluence, and all that stuff. And then the other type is what we call cloud consoles, wherein, let's say, for example, if the course is specifically just for them to have a lab environment, for them to have an access to an Azure Cloud Console portal, for them to navigate through learning about Azure Administrator or Azure Developer tasks. And then once you've selected an operating system, this is where the lab templates will come into play. So the lab templates are basically the baseline images that can be and will be defined by the university. So later on, we will be explaining further the POCs and the proof of concepts that we can do with the universities in Indonesia on this call. So once you got interested in a POC, we will be defining specific lab classes that you would need as a template. We will pre-build them for you. And then once we have defined all those lab templates, then that's going to be the template that you will be using for all of the online lab classes and sessions that will be accessed by the students. And then you can also drag and drop lab activities. You can also view them if you want. So click on view. You can just easily view on what's inside of it. And then you can create lab activities from scratch later on in here on the lab activities panel side. And then you click next, and then you click summary, and then you click save if you want to. Now, once you are on the lab profile, so let's say, for example, you've already created your lab profile. So for example, in this case, the Adobe Multimedia Design Lab class. So in order for me to provision students or provision lab sessions for the students, I can simply click on Grant Lab Access. And then in here, I would be able to grant lab access to either an instructor lab session or the students themselves. And then when I click on the student, then they would automatically be receiving hands-on lab sessions for them. And then once they've logged on to their lab session later on the student perspective, you would be able to see how it works when you launch a lab as a student. And then if you want to be able to grade the students as an instructor, you just simply click on lab grading. And then there are two ways to grade and verify the work of the student. It's either depending on the lab answer output that you require. It could be letting them submit a lab screenshot that is required for that specific lab exercise that you're asking them to do. So you can just simply view lab screenshot, or you can remotely connect to the lab by clicking on lab remote so that you can check their actual output file or HTML5 format file or any Python package applications that they've run during the session. And then you can put a remarks if it's passed or failed. And then if it's passed, then we can also integrate what we call digital credentialing for hand. All of the students would be given a hands-on lab accomplished digital badge wherein it demonstrates that they have successfully completed the hands-on lab. And then if you want to be able to configure now and allocate the hours for each of the students, you just simply go to course lab hours. So this is where you can configure the number of students for each of the lab class. And then you allocate the number of hours in the back end on the super admin side, wherein we usually do that for the customers already because they just define the number of hours that is needed or that are needed for that specific lab class for the entire semester. So that's how we do it. And then you would be able to just configure the number of students that you want to allocate these lab hours for these specific lab classes for. And then once you've configured that, then when you grant lab access, it should be able to reflect from here when you click that. And then if you edit your lab profile, you just simply click on edit and you would be able to edit your lab profile. And then if you are an instructor and you were given a lab session, then you would just simply click on lab session. So later on, with CloudSwift's marketing lead, May, she would be able to show the lab session perspective for the student. And then when you go to the lab activities, this is where the instructors are basically creating their lab activities and content that will be viewed by the students as well. On the right-hand panel later on, you will see. So you can create lab activities by just simply clicking on create lab activities, and then you name the activity, you put the course code, and you put the details of the lab activity. So a sample lab activity could actually look this way. For example, introduction to AI. So when I click on view, so you would be able to see a sample lab activity being created this way. You can also attach, screenshots or images on your lab activities if you want to. So for example, I'm going to try this one. There you go. So there's also a lab activity around that. This one as well. This is a sample lab activity as well. So as you can see, you can put all of the lab instructions that they need to follow, and that would be helpful for them to perform their lab exercises. And then in the form of lab grading, that's how the blended learning experience will come into play by the instructors and professors and lecturers of the universities. They would be able to grade their students, their students depending on lab output. And then on the IT administration side of the school and the universities, we normally and usually work with them very closely hand in hand. So the IT administration of these universities, they have the tendency to also use the lab remote functionality if they want to change something in the lab templates or the lab class profiles for the students. Let's say, for example, they want to update the license, or they want to add some lab files, or they want to add some installers or whatsoever, or they want to install additional applications and tools. Then they also do use the lab remote functionality. And then the rest here is like straightforward. So user management, of course, as an administrator, you would be able to add user profiles, and you would be able to specify the roles as well for the user profiles once you have created them. So for example here, you can edit an existing user profile like that, and then you can choose a user group, and then you can choose the role, and then you can create the user profile from scratch as well. And then the configuration, this is pretty much controlled because this is only staff administrator access. So for the super user admin access, we do that from our side. So in here is just basically showing the creation of virtual environments that what can be reflected on the template on the lab profiles. So for example here, when I click on title description, automatically Windows, and you can select cloud provider ID, which is Microsoft Azure. And then for the virtual environment images, so for example, the lab images, let's say the Creative Cloud or Adobe, so automatically it will pull out the blob core template image from Azure. So we have done deployments across universities and higher education institutes in Southeast Asia in a form of providing this solution by utilizing their own Azure cloud subscription tenants as well. So we have done that with one of the major universities here in Indonesia, and later on we'll talk to you more about the use case of that study, and we can entertain questions with regards to that as well later on after the webinar. And then later on we'll be announcing some exciting stuff as well for the proof of concept mechanics. So I will leave the floor now to provide and show the student perspective demo to our colleague May Leave here, who's also part of the webinar. So thank you so much.
Hi, May, you still on mute?
Hello, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, so hi again, everyone. My name is May. I am the marketing development lead for CloudSwyft. Okay, so far we've seen how easy it is to do the admin side and what CloudSwyft has to offer. Now let's see how easy it is to do the student side. So a brief background about me. I took up multimedia arts in college. So one of the main problems I had then was, how do I do my 3D work, my 2D work, and then my video editing, audio editing, even Photoshop with my PC at home? That is not as good in terms of the RAM, in terms of the storage and all that. So CloudSwyft has the answer to that. Now, as you can see on my screen, this is the Cloud Labs, the hands-on lab session for the students. Now, for example, I am the student that Dan has given the lab to. My subject is multimedia. Okay, so I'm logging in as the student. Okay, so this would be different in terms of access if you have, depending on your internet connection. So here is the subject that Dan has given me. So my assignment is for multimedia. I'm clicking that, going into my lab, connecting. Okay. So as you can see here, the desktop is very similar to what we have on our own computers. It has a Windows button here, so everything is the same as your desktop, but the difference is we are using an internet browser. What does that mean for the students? That means the students would not need to install the software. They do not need gigabytes or terabytes of storage needed for Photoshop itself, because Photoshop is needs a goodly amount of storage. So meaning we're using the cloud solution, we're using the browser. No need to install. All you need is a browser. It's either Chrome, Edge, Firefox, or whatever you want to use, an internet connection, and then the student itself, and then a computer. So as Dan mentioned, you can see here on your right here, this is the instructions that the instructor has given me. For example, the instructor has given me, for my one exercise, I need to create a logo for myself. Now, whatever instructions you want to give to your students, you can put it in here. You have the liberty to do that. You have the power to do that because of your admin access. Now, I'm going to my Photoshop. Okay, so Photoshop loading, same as your normal Photoshop or normal applications. You can see here, there's Dreamweaver, there's Microsoft Edge, there's Excel. So whatever application, you can do that on your Cloud Labs. Okay, so Photoshop, fresh Photoshop for the students. Okay, so my professor told me to do a logo. Okay, let's do the default size, for example. Let's do a logo. The Photoshop here works exactly the same as your normal Photoshop on your own desktop. It would work with Tableau, it would work with Excel, it would work with Dreamweaver, Adobe Premiere, and anything, any type of software, it would work with Cloud Labs. So for example, let's do a logo. Very simple logo. For example, I'm a very simple person. Okay, so the logo. Okay, so that's my logo. Now, I would be saving it exactly the same as how I would save it when I'm using it on my desktop. Save it on your computer. But the difference now is that I've linked my computer or my desktop or my document setting to my OneDrive so as to save time, to save effort, and to save my files. How many of you professors in this webinar has encountered students saying, I am sorry, my dog ate my homework, or I left my USB at home? With saving it via cloud or any cloud software or any cloud platform, you can minimize that. For example, I have saved my logo here. This one. That's my logo. I've saved it as a JPEG file or whatever file you would need your students to submit your file for. For example, this is my logo. Now, reading here on my right, my teacher has told me to do a logo, for example. It's not written here, but for example, you can write it here. My teacher has asked me to do a logo. Now, I would submit my logo by uploading the screenshot here, or whatever kind of file you would be needing your student to submit. So upload the screenshot here. Because I've saved it on my OneDrive file, my logo is here. For example, that's my logo. This, for example, is a logo that I made. I would be submitting this to my professor. I'd click upload, and then this will automatically go to my Cloud Labs, hands-on labs platform, and then my teacher would be able to see that, just as Dan has shown us earlier. My teacher will be able to grade my activity and then tell me if my assignment or my project is good or not, if I pass or fail. The beauty of this is that the students can do this in their home, in the safety of their home, especially now in these times. And then the teacher can also see, instructors can also grade in the safety of their own homes, anytime, anywhere, just using your desktop, your PC, your laptop, a browser, and an internet connection. I think that's it for the student side. Nerdian?
Alright, thank you, Mr. Dan, May. So, hingga saat ini kita telah melihat apa yang tersedia untuk pelajar dan instruktur dan betapa mudahnya untuk mengakses dan menjalankan hands-on lab di CloudSwyft platform kami. Oke, baiklah, berikutnya saya yakin Bapak dan Ibu memiliki pertanyaan yang ingin ditanyakan kepada panelis kami tentang pembahasan yang sudah kita dengarkan bersama-sama tadi. Jika Anda melihat, May, would you please, jika Anda melihat di Teams window Anda akan melihat icon angkat tangan seperti ini. Silahkan diklik, dan kami akan mengetahui bahwa Anda memiliki pertanyaan dan kami akan melakukan Q&A interaktif, di mana Anda akan bertanya kepada Mr. Dan, Prince, atau Pak Aditya secara langsung. Boleh Bapak Ibu diklik sekarang, dan saya akan menghubungi Bapak Ibu dan mohon kamera on jika berkenan pada saat pertanyaan diajukan. Tetapi sebelum kita mulai pertanyaan, saya ada satu informasi bahwa kami menyediakan 1 bulan penuh untuk POC, untuk trial POC atau Proof of Concept solusi CloudSwyft platform custom lab house kami untuk Bapak Ibu di sekolah. Oke. Alright. Bapak Ibu, jika ada pertanyaan boleh langsung raise your hand, please.
Yeah, so I think there's one question from the chat here. Maybe we can start answering that as well. From Mr. Thomas Simpson from the call, he was asking, will it work with a locally connected drawing pen tablet?
Correct.
Let's say the students are using it for digital painting. So basically, I would say, I mean, to be honest, we haven't tried that yet, but I would say since specifically the functions when you do anything inside the lab is the same as like what you use, like, you know, your laptop or your mouse or anything like that. So whatever device that you're using that is connected to your laptop, that is being that is triggering an action to the lab session itself, I think it will work and it can work. So maybe May here on the call as well. Maybe May, if you have any ideas to add on this, like have you tried using a drawing pen tablet, and do you have any ideas around this?
Thank you, Dan. So I think, Sir Thomas, it would work with the pen tablet, I think. Although we have to try it, but
Yes.
as it works with a mouse or with any other device connected to your laptop or your PC, it would also work with your pen tablet.
Yes, yeah. So it would be exciting to try that out, Mr. Thomas Simpson. I think, I believe. In fact, maybe we should try it from our side, and then we will let you know right away. We'll give you feedback once we have already confirmed that that's working. Do we have any other questions?
Ya, untuk Pak Thomas, boleh kami tahu perwakilan dari sekolah mana, Pak Thomas? Halo.
For the
Universitas.
for the audience on the webinar, you may decide to speak up if you want, or if you want to type in the questions, you may also type in the questions, and then feel free to also speak up as well, so that if you want to express your question in Bahasa, Budian is here to help out as well.
Ya. Alright, kita ada pertanyaan lagi dari Bapak Sauki Hanif Ardani. How about the internet bandwidth usage? When we use the lab, what the minimum bandwidth should we use?
Okay,
right?
So for the minimum bandwidth that we should use, we have always been communicating to our customers to have at least a minimum of 1 to 2 Mbps bandwidth. So I believe, I think, knowing that in comparing, in fairness, in the Philippines versus Indonesia, I think Indonesia has a little bit better bandwidth infrastructure compared to the Philippines. So we have been working with universities and organizations in the Philippines for this solution. So I believe having this solution in Indonesia is even going to be better in terms of experience, because of the bandwidth infrastructure that is slightly better than the Philippines. So yes, minimum is 1 Mbps to 2 Mbps.
Budian, I think you're on mute.
Budian, you're on mute. Yep.
Yes, sorry. Oke.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, no problem.
Oke, Pak M. Sauki, Bapak boleh tahu kami Bapak perwakilan dari universitas mana, Pak?
Saya sendiri dari ITS Surabaya.
Oh, ITS Surabaya, baik. Terima kasih, Pak Sauki.
Terima kasih.
Ya, sama-sama, Pak. Baik, dari Bapak Ibu partisipan yang lain, mungkin ada pertanyaan lagi untuk Den, Pak Aditya atau Fred. Kita masih ada banyak waktu, Bapak Ibu. Silakan kalau berbicara langsung boleh, by chat juga boleh.
Yeah, maybe aside from the question, if I can just jump in. So just like what Budian mentioned earlier, we are offering what we call Custom Labs POC for 1 month. The POC Custom Labs for 1 month that we can offer to the universities that will be interested in Indonesia, and then the mechanics can be explained further on, but basically what we usually do is we work with the universities hand in hand, both in the IT department as well as the deans and the rectors of each of the departments. So for example, in one of the case studies we have in an Indonesian university, we did not just cover computer science and IT, we also did cover multimedia design studies, architecture, engineering, and the like. And then along with that, we work with the deans and directors and the software laboratory teams for them to determine and define the lab profiles that we can run for you for the POC deployment. And then during the POC, during that 1 month period, we will work closely with each of the university for them to be able to experience the platform, both on the administration side and as well as the learner or the student side. So for example, you pick like 3 to 4 lab classes that you want to run POC with us. And then once we do the POC, we work closely as well with determining the and requirements potentially if you see it something that you would be interested in deploying officially within your universities and campuses for the next semester, for example, because I believe we are now entering the next semester for the Indonesian academic year next year. So I believe, Budian, we have a form that each of them can fill up if they are interested for a POC so that we can kickstart with some next steps. Am I correct?
Yes, correct. Jadi Bapak Ibu nanti kita akan berikan semacam form untuk termasuk juga survei feedback terhadap kami untuk webinar hari ini, dan kami akan chat atau akan kami kirimkan di email atau nanti kami sampaikan di layar webinar ini. Mr. Dan, we have a question from Pak Thomas.
Yeah, so Sir Thomas, you were asking, so if I could have one more question, how is the case working with 3D software or maybe a game engine and hardware heavy software in CG production class with your Indonesia's university clients, since it will be hard work, it will be hard to work with a complex 3D environment if there's a delay or lag in it. So so far, with regards to that, I am glad to inform you, Pat Thomas, that we have actually done Autodesk 3ds Max as a use case already. And then we have done Unity 3D as well and Autodesk Maya as applications for our existing Indonesia university client. And in fact, so far, for the sizing that we have provided for them, so far the specifications is acceptable, and in terms of the experience of the students, it's not a class, right, lab environment. So far, all I can say is good in terms of a student lab session. So it's normal in terms of like performing tasks and activities. So it's not as high as the specifications of a GPU yet, because I mean GPUs is going to be too high. That's probably for like production workloads, gaming and graphics and design. But specifically for training and education purposes, the available sizes that we have are now at a maximum for 3D design and game development tools and software applications on our lab sessions is workable. So thank you for bringing up those questions. In fact, if we can, if the university or Universitas Multimedia Nusantara is going to be interested for a POC, we would love to do the same lab class profiles for you so that you can experience it yourself.
Alright, Pak Thomas, apakah sudah cukup jawaban dari Mr. Dan? Alright, you're welcome Pak, sama-sama, terima kasih. Baik, masih ada pertanyaan dari Bapak atau Ibu? Silakan loh Pak. Mungkin jika pertanyaannya masih belum ada, bisa di-emailkan ke kami, nanti kami akan respon. Alright. So, Mr. Dan?
Yes, yeah. Are there other questions?
Yeah, I think there is no more question from the participant, and maybe we can share.
There's another question, I think.
Okay.
By,
Okay, dengan
Bu-
Ibu Latifah Arif, can we apply individually for the 1 month POC over, or must it be an institution-based application? Then, please.
Yeah. So for this, this must be an institution-based. I'm afraid, because we are working with education level kind of engagements for the POCs at the moment. So if you would like to test out as a B2C learner, you can direct your details to me. You can send me personally your email. You can send me a message personally, and then I can lead you perhaps with our B2C massive open online course partners, so that if you want to test out the functionality of our labs separately, we can lead you to the other B2C channels instead. But for the B2B education, of course, we would like this to be institution-based. Budian, you are on mute.
Ya, terima kasih Bu Latifah. Boleh tahu Ibu perwakilan dari universitas mana, Bu?
Universitas Andalas.
Oke, Universitas Andalas. Baik, terima kasih Ibu atas pertanyaannya. Dan Padang, baik. Baik, Bapak Ibu, masih ada pertanyaan lagi? Waktu kita masih ada beberapa menit. Masih ada pertanyaan, Bapak, Ibu? Boleh raise hand dan bicara langsung tanpa harus ketik di chat, Ibu, Bapak.
Okay, Budian, you are going to be sending them. You're going to be sending to all. We are going to be sending to all of the participants today, the link for the Microsoft forms that they can fill up, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
May I share the screen? Oke, Bapak Ibu, Bapak bisa ke link kami untuk CloudSwyft Webinar Survey. Kami sangat butuh banget pendapat, inputan, masukan dari Bapak sama Ibu. Lalu kalau masih ada pertanyaan lagi dan mungkin Bapak Ibu mempertimbangkan untuk solusi kami terkait POC, Bapak Ibu bisa kontak ke saya, nurdian@cloudswift.com, atau langsung ke sales@cloudswift.com. Okay. All right, Mr. Dan,
I think there's another question from Bu Latifah. So if say that we used to use Proteus for simulation-based activities in our electric circuit and electronic hands-on lab, can it be provided also in CloudSwyft? So basically what can be done here is that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Proteus is like a PCB. It's like a PCB design software, right? So I believe it can be downloaded to a Windows lab session. So we can have Proteus as one of the applications as a lab profile, and then that lab profile will have a Proteus software on it, so that the students would be able to access the lab on the Proteus. Yeah, basically with the lab session itself, so they don't have to go to the physical lab facility to access the desktops on the classroom with the Proteus, so they can access the Proteus software from the lab session. We can also try that in our POC if you wish. Once you know you have already registered your interest, Bu Latifa, we can do we can have Proteus as one of the lab profiles for the POC, so that we can try it out as well and test it out. Okay, perfect. All right, Budian, carry on.
Oke, Bu Latifa, terima kasih atas pertanyaannya. Thank you, Mr. Dan. Apakah masih ada lagi Bapak Ibu pertanyaan untuk tim kami?
Are we sharing the link that we're showing on the slide to the Teams chat perhaps, so that they can
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Survey the interest form for POC.
Oke, sebentar Bapak Ibu.
Okay, all right. So I think there are no any other questions. So thank you so much. Personally, coming from in behalf of the entire CloudSwyft team here based in Manila, thank you so much for choosing to attend our webinar today with all of our Indonesian folks there as well, and with the Microsoft Indonesia education team. Thank you so much. And then I'll pass it on to Budian.
Yes, alright. Sekali lagi kami mengucapkan terima kasih untuk Bapak Ibu yang sudah bergabung dan meluangkan waktu. Apakah bersedia Bapak Ibu untuk kita foto bareng nih Bu, Pak? Kalau bersedia, kita foto bareng, kamera on. Jadi nanti kalau ketemu di jalan bisa kenal dan
Can we maybe try together mode here if it's possible? Are we trying to like do a capture or like a group photo or something, or?
Yep, we can do the together mode.
Yeah.
Ya. Baik, yang lain mana nih Bapak Ibu? Alright. Ayo, Bapak Ibu jangan malu-malu, mana lagi? Great. Ayo, saya tunggu loh, Bapak Ibu.
Budian, are you doing it? Are you doing it together mode now?
Yeah, Pak Aditya doing it.
Okay.
Right, Pak Aditya?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Oke. Bapak Ibu yang lain. Bapak. Alright, oke. Mungkin yang lain malu. Bapak Ibu ayo. Oke, Pak Aditya mungkin. Kok jadi berkurang? Oke, kita mulai ya. Udah cukup segini? Oh, oke, wait. Oke. 1, 2, 3. Pak Aditya, will you be able to take a picture, to take a short screen, please? I already have one.
Yeah, it's already done.
Okay. All right. Maybe that's it. Mr. Dan, can we closing?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think that's it. So thank you everyone, and looking forward to working with everybody. Thank you and take care. Be safe. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Terima kasih semua.
Terima kasih.
Sore.
Terima kasih.
Bye.